You could give her everything. Your time, your effort, your love. You could move mountains, fix her problems, show up every single time and still lose her. Why? Because what most men think women want and what actually makes them stay are two completely different things. This video isn't about blaming women. It's about opening your eyes. Because if you're a man over 35 and you've been burned, confused, or ghosted after doing everything right, it wasn't you. It was your blueprint. You were taught to win her with kindness, to prove your worth, to be nice, be generous, be available. But women don't fall in love with generosity. They fall in love with power, with certainty, with polarity. And when you finally understand what she actually responds to, without the lies, without the games, you stop chasing, you stop begging, and she starts paying attention. So if you've ever asked, what more could I possibly do? You're about to get your answer. Subscribe now and stick with me through this, because what I'm about to share may piss some people off, but it'll set you free. Number one she wants, presents, not promises. Let's get one she wants. Presents, not promises. Something straight. When a woman's truly into you, she doesn't care how many promises you make. She cares about how you show up. And not just physically, I'm talking about presence. Your energy, your focus, your masculine calm in the chaos of her emotions. Most men don't get this. They think, if I just tell her, I'll always be here. If I promise, I'll change. If I swear, I'll treat her better than any guy ever has, that'll be enough. It's not, because women don't fall for future potential. They fall for how you make them feel right now. When you're with her, are you fully present, or are you halfway in your phone, halfway in your head, worried about work, your ex, or the next move? You think she wants. She can feel that, and it turns her off faster than you think. Here's what most guys miss. A woman doesn't need you to fix her world. She needs to feel that you're rooted in yours. That when she's with you, you're not elsewhere, scattered, distracted. You're locked in, not in a needy way, but in a grounded, masculine way that says, this is my space. I'm here, I see you, I'm not performing. Presence is rare today. It's not about saying the right things. It's about the energy behind your silence. The way you hold eye contact, the way you pause instead of fill space. The way you listen, not to reply, but to understand. Women crave presence because it makes them feel safe, seen and turned on all at the same time. Now here's the kicker. A lot of men fake presence. They use sweet words and attentive gestures, but underneath it all, it's still performance. They're trying to get something. Women pick up on that fast. That's why you hear them say things like, something felt off, or it just didn't feel real. They don't want you to act present. They want you to be present, which means you've got to clean up your mind. Handle your stress. Stop overthinking. Get out of your own way. You can't be present for her if you haven't first learned how to be present with yourself. And this is where Stoicism hits home. The Stoics didn't chase, didn't beg, didn't make promises to impress others. They trained their minds to stay rooted in the now, to meet reality with calm. Not because it was easy, but because it was the only place where power existed. A woman can feel when a man is here, not to fix her, not to win her, but to be with her. No fear, no outcome, chasing just presence. Now imagine this. You're with a woman, she's testing you, poking, throwing emotional curveballs, maybe even threatening to walk away. Most men panic. They start promising, I'll change, I'll do better. Just tell me what you need. But the grounded man, he breathes. He listens. He doesn't rush to fix anything. He lets her feel the weight of her words. He holds space without folding. And in that stillness, she starts to feel something different, something rare, something magnetic. That's presence, and it's irresistible. So, stop thinking you need to write her love letters, make grand gestures, or swear undying loyalty. Instead, train yourself to be fully there in the moment, no matter what. That's what leaves an impression. That's what separates you from every guy who only knows how to talk a big game. Comment below, I bring presents, and if you're done making empty promises and ready to become a man whose energy speaks louder than words, subscribe. Now, join the Stoic Brotherhood. That's where we train this every day. Let's keep going. What comes next is what most men never learn until it's too late. Number 2, masculine polarity turns her to. Masculine polarity turns her on. Let's break a myth that's been killing attraction for decades. Women don't want a man who's in touch with his feelings. If that means he's soft, uncertain, and emotional like her, she already has those parts within herself. What she's really craving, whether she says it or not, is masculine polarity. Now, don't let the word polarity throw you off. It simply means this attraction exists between opposites, masculine and feminine, assertive and receptive, grounded and flowing. When you collapse into sameness, when you start acting more like her to connect with her, you're killing that spark without even realizing it. This is why so many nice guys get stuck in the friend zone. They're supportive, empathetic, always available, but they don't lead, they don't ground her, they don't challenge her emotionally or energetically, so she doesn't feel the pull. She feels safe, but not aroused. What turns her on isn't you opening up about every doubt, fear, and insecurity in the name of emotional honesty. It's you being steady, clear, rooted in your direction, regardless of how she feels in the moment. It's you not flinching when she throws emotional storms your way. Women want to feel your strength, not through dominance, but through certainty, not through control, but through calm presence and unwavering direction. Let's talk real life example. She's spiraling, overwhelmed. Her emotions are all over the place. A weak man jumps in trying to fix everything. He panics, mirrors her chaos, tries to comfort her with desperate energy. But a man with masculine polarity, he doesn't run. He doesn't match her energy. He holds the space. He doesn't say calm down. He just is calm. He doesn't argue with her emotions. He witnesses them. And in that, she starts to feel safe. Not because he rescued her, but because he didn't crumble. That right there is the turn on most men miss. The more masculine you are, not macho, not aggressive, but deeply grounded, the more she can relax into her femininity. That's where she feels her most sensual, most connected, most alive, because your energy gives her room to feel without being judged or controlled. But here's where guys get it twisted. They think polarity means be cold or be alpha. That's just ego flexing. True polarity is about depth, emotional maturity, stillness that comes from inner work. That's what Stoicism gives you. The Stoics taught, don't be shaken by external things. Don't overreact. Don't chase validation. Be the mountain, not the weather. And when you carry that into a relationship, when you're the unmoved mover, she feels something deeper than comfort. She feels desire, because that kind of masculine energy, it's rare, it's powerful, and it speaks louder than looks, money, or charm. Now, maybe you've been told to be more understanding, to open up more, to talk it out. And there's nothing wrong with being emotionally available. But emotional availability isn't the same as emotional instability. You can be open and still strong. You can be kind and still commanding. You can be loving and still leading. That's the balance most men never learn. And without it, you'll keep doing everything right on paper and still wonder why she's pulling away. So here's the question. When she's emotional, are you reacting or responding? When she tests you, do you collapse or stay composed? When she pushes, do you fold or do you stand firm with love? Because masculine polarity isn't about overpowering her. It's about making her feel your presence so deeply that her walls start to melt. and she can surrender to the moment without fear. Comment below, I lead with strength. And if you're done being the nice guy who gets overlooked, if you're ready to unlock the kind of energy women actually respond to, then now's the time. Subscribe, join the Stoic Brotherhood. That's where we train this, sharpen this, live this. Because once you master masculine polarity, everything changes. Number 3, she craves 3. She craves emotional control, not emotional chaos. Emotional control, not emotional chaos. Let's be honest, emotions are powerful. They can connect people, spark intimacy, and create unforgettable moments. But they can also destroy trust, kill attraction, and turn a strong man into someone she can't respect. Here's the truth. No matter what she says, no matter how modern the dating world gets, a woman does not want a man who is ruled by his emotions. She wants to feel your emotions, but only when you are in control of them, not when they're controlling you. That's a key difference most men miss. You've been told to open up more, be vulnerable, share your feelings. And yes, there's value in honesty, but raw emotion without control isn't honesty, it's volatility. What she actually craves is emotional stability, not chaos, not outbursts. Not the guy who gets jealous and spirals, not the guy who overthinks every little thing she says, not the man who breaks down when she tests him, when she pulls away, or when she's not acting how she used to. That kind of behavior, it doesn't make her feel closer to you. It makes her feel like she's dating a boy, not a man. Let me give you a scenario you might recognize. She gets distant. Maybe she stops replying as fast. Maybe she cancels a plan last minute. Now your brain starts racing. What did I do wrong? Is she seeing someone else? Should I say something? Should I ignore her? Should I double text just to be safe? Boom, you're already in emotional chaos. And here's the killer. She feels it. Women are hypersensitive to energy. She doesn't need you to lash out. She can feel the emotional imbalance before you even say a word. So instead of feeling safe around you, she feels responsible for your emotional state. And trust me, nothing kills attraction faster than that. You want to be the kind of man who can experience emotion without performing it, who can feel pain, frustration, confusion, but channel it inward, process it, and respond from a place of calm power. That's emotional control. That's what builds respect. That's what makes her lean in. Because now you are the anchor, not her. And that shifts everything. Think about it like this. In a storm, the ship doesn't need more waves. It needs an anchor. She doesn't need more emotion. She needs your calm. Now don't get it twisted. This isn't about being emotionless. It's about being emotionally masterful. The Stoics called this apatheia, not the absence of feeling, but the mastery over how you let feelings affect your decisions and actions. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." That strength, that's what she wants to feel from you. She wants to know that when life shakes her, you don't shake. She wants to know that when she's emotional, you stay centered. Not because you're pretending, but because you've done the work. You've trained your mind. You've owned your reactions, and that makes you rare. Women don't want to carry the emotional load for both of you. They don't want to lead you through your own insecurities. They don't want to feel like they have to parent you emotionally. And if they do, they may stay, but they'll never desire you the same way again. So next time you feel that wave, whether it's jealousy, anger, fear, neediness, pause, don't text, don't act, don't explode, breathe, observe, reclaim your state. Because when she feels you, choosing grounded clarity over chaotic reaction, her attraction doesn't just return, it deepens. Now tell me in the comments, I stay in control. Say it, own it, make it who you are. And if you're ready to stop losing attraction, through emotional chaos and start leading with calm, masculine power. Subscribe. Now, this channel is built for men like you, and if you want to go deeper, the Stoic Brotherhood is open. We sharpen this daily together because emotional control isn't weakness. It's your greatest weapon. Number 4, mystery makes her chase. Here's something nobody tells you, for mystery makes her chase. Straight up, but every woman feels it. If she can read you like a book, she'll close it fast. The men she remembers, the ones she thinks about late at night or checks in on after months. They weren't the loudest, nicest, or most available. They were the ones she couldn't quite figure out. They were the ones who gave just enough and then pulled back. Mystery isn't about manipulation. It's about maintaining that sacred tension, the unknown that keeps her imagination engaged. And if you think that disappears in long-term relationships, think. Again, mystery isn't just for the chase, it's for the spark. Let's break this down. Most men overshare, over-explain, and over-commit their attention early. Why? Because they think it proves they're serious, that if she knows everything about them right away, she'll feel safe and open up. But that's not how desire works. Desire feeds on uncertainty. The unknown, the what if, the pullback, the tension between he's into me and I don't fully have him yet. And if you give her everything up front, your past, your feelings, your intentions, your schedule, your plans, your availability, guess what? You kill that spark. Now she's not chasing anymore. She's categorizing. She's putting you into the good guy box, the reliable folder, and from there, it's just a matter of time before she gets bored. Women want to feel like they're earning access to you. They don't want you to hand them the keys. They want to unlock the door. It's the difference between being a prize and being the fallback. Mystery doesn't mean being secretive or cold. It means being selective. It means not dumping your life story over dinner. It means keeping certain thoughts to yourself, not because you're hiding something, but because not everything needs to be said. It means being confident enough to know she'll want to know more if you give her less. You see, when a woman is intrigued, she invests. And when she invests, she bonds. Now here's where most guys screw this up. They think mystery means playing hard to get ghosting or pretending they're not interested. Number immaturity, true mystery, is a calm, confident restraint. It's when she can tell you're interested, but she's not sure how much. It's when you can hold eye contact, give her attention, but not chase. Stoicism teaches us this power, not to suppress ourselves, but to withhold neediness, to embrace the silence, to know that your value is not in your availability, but in your selectivity. Remember this, the man who values himself doesn't rush to be understood. He lets her wonder. He lets her ask questions. He lets the space between moments build tension. Mystery creates attraction because it speaks to a primal truth. We want what we can't fully have, and women are no different. She wants a man who feels like a puzzle, not a solved equation. She wants to lean in, not be pulled in. And when you stop feeding her every answer, you give her the one thing that lights her up, the thrill of figuring you out. So if you've been over-explaining, oversharing, or over-committing, pause, pull back, let her fill in the blanks and watch what happens. Comment below, I let her wonder. Say it, practice it, and own it, like a man who doesn't fear being misunderstood. If this resonates with you, hit subscribe right now. And if you're ready to take the deeper path of calm power and strategic silence, the Brotherhood is open. Mystery isn't just a trick. It's your edge. Use it. 5. Being chosen is not her priority. Being drawn in is, well, number 5. Being chosen is not her priority. Being drawn in is, let's break something wide open. Most men are playing the wrong game. They're trying to be chosen by a woman thinking, if they're good enough, if they do enough, she'll pick them. But here's the raw truth. She's not looking to choose. She's looking to feel. A woman doesn't fall for the guy who ticks every box on paper. She falls for the man whose presence makes her forget she even had a checklist. This is where most guys get confused. You're thinking like a logical provider? If I show her I'm stable, loyal, respectful, she'll see I'm worth it. And maybe she does, but logic isn't what drives desire. It's emotional gravity, the pull she feels towards you that she can't fully explain. That's what determines if she's thinking about you when she's alone. That's what keeps her invested. You can be the nicest guy in her life and still get passed over. Why? Because your energy feels safe, but not electric. Now, I'm not telling you to play games. You don't need to be cold or manipulative. But if you want to create real attraction, you have to stop trying to be the obvious choice. You have to become the inescapable draw. What does that mean? It means you don't broadcast your value. You live it. You don't announce your presence. You own it. Imagine a man who's completely grounded. He walks into a room, says little, but the way he carries himself says everything. He's not seeking attention. He doesn't need approval. But people notice him, especially women. Not because he's loud, but because he's solid. That's what women crave on a primal level. It's not about showing off. It's about anchoring down so deep in your own frame that she feels you before she fully sees you. And when that happens, she doesn't think, should I choose him? She starts thinking, why am I so drawn to him? You flip the script. You're no longer chasing selection. You become the standard. Here's something to tattoo on your mindset. Women don't want to be impressed. They want to be affected. Affect her with your calm. Affect her with your purpose. Affect her with your silence when others speak too much. Now let's touch on something even deeper. The moment you start acting like a candidate for her attention, you lose the polarity. She becomes the judge, you become the performer. But that dynamic, it doesn't spark chemistry, it breeds obligation, and she'll pull away from that fast. Instead, when you're rooted in who you are, you naturally create tension. Not because you're trying, but because you're not chasing. You're creating a sense of mystery, confidence and independence that forces her to engage with who you actually are, not who you pretend to be to earn her validation. And the wild part, she may not even understand why she's thinking about you, but she will. Because you didn't push, you pulled. Let her feel the absence of your need. Let her feel the weight of your presence. Let her wonder what you're thinking, rather than always telling her what you feel. That's not manipulation. That's masculine energy in its purest form. It's not about being chosen. It's about being undeniable. Now say this in the comments. If it resonates with you, I lead, she follows. That's not arrogance, that's alignment. It's how attraction is built. Organically, unforced and rooted in real power. Let her lean in you. You stay grounded. Number 6. She wants a man on a 6. She wants a man on a mission. Mission. Let's get something clear right now. If you think being available 24/7 makes you more desirable, you've already lost the edge, because the man she wants most isn't sitting by the phone waiting. He's not chasing her with good morning texts and constant updates. He's chasing something bigger, a vision, a purpose, a mission. Women are biologically wired to respond to masculine energy that is going somewhere, not wandering, not unsure, but focused. And here's the twist. The more dialed in you are to your mission, the less you need her approval and the more attractive you become. It's not about ignoring her. It's about living a life where she has to catch up. When she sees you building something, your career, your body, your legacy, she feels your energy in motion. And that motion, it's magnetic because deep down, she doesn't just want to be loved. She wants to be led. You can be good looking, you can be kind, but if you lack direction, you're replaceable. So the real question isn't, how do I get her to like me? It's what am I building that she would even want to be part of? When a man's life is driven by a purpose greater than impressing women, he becomes rare. He becomes unpredictable in the best way, because she knows she can't manipulate your emotions with a delayed text or a cold shoulder. You're not reacting to her mood. You're responding to your mission. Now this is where most guys mess up. They think having a mission means cutting women out. Not true. It means your mission frames everything, even your relationships. She doesn't want to be your world. She wants to join your world. There's a difference. A man without a mission starts orbiting her. A man on a mission lets her orbit him by choice, not control. And here's the brutal reality. When you make her your mission, she loses attraction. Not because she's ungrateful, but because you've stepped out of your masculine core. She wants to see you obsessed, but not with her, with your purpose, with something that lights you up from the inside. And when you embody that kind of energy, you don't need to brag. You don't need to convince. You radiate direction. You walk different. You talk different. You make decisions like a man who knows what he's here to do. And that presence, it makes her feel safe. It makes her curious. It makes her chase. Now listen carefully. This isn't about being cold or emotionally unavailable. You can love deeply and still be focused. You can care for her and still prioritize your mission. In fact, doing both is what separates boys from men, because the man she truly respects, the one she brags about, the one she feels drawn to, he doesn't abandon himself for her. He builds his life with or without her and invites her to rise with him. So if you've been feeling stuck, overlooked, or too available, don't beg. Get busier. Lock in. Build the thing. Train your body. Sharpen your mind. Refuse to be distracted by breadcrumbs of attention. And here's what you'll notice. When you stop chasing her, she starts chasing certainty, and you've become the source of that. Say this in the comments. If you're that man, I'm building my world. Because when you are, everything changes. She sees it, she feels it, and if she's the right one, she won't try to take you off. Of course, she'll want to ride with you, so keep building, keep moving, and never apologize for being a man on a mission. Number 7, status and energy beat. 7. Status and energy beat. Gifts and gestures. Gifts and gestures. Let's break a harsh truth wide open. No matter how thoughtful the gifts you buy, how grand the gestures you pull off, if you don't carry presence and power when you walk into a room, you're just another guy trying too hard. This doesn't mean gifts and gestures don't matter at all, they do. But they only work when they come from a man who's already radiating something deeper, status and energy. See, here's what most men get completely wrong. They believe women fall in love through what they receive. So they give more, they over-deliver, they get creative with surprise, dates, flowers, texts, dinners, compliments. They think if I just show her how much I care, she'll finally see my value. But she doesn't fall for what's handed to her. She falls for the man who hands it over. She's not attracted to the act. She's attracted to who you are when you do it. If she senses desperation, if she feels you're seeking her approval with every sweet move. It doesn't matter if you took her to the most expensive place in town, you've just handed her power. Now compare that to a man who enters the room with unshakable calm. He says little but means every word. He doesn't over-explain, he doesn't seek validation. His energy makes her feel something. A mix of challenge and curiosity, security and danger. That man could show up with a single flower and a silent stare, and it would light her up more than any romantic fireworks from a guy begging to be seen. Why? Because status isn't about your car, your job, or your bank account. It's about your internal posture. It's about how you carry yourself. It's how you move, how you speak, how you hold eye contact. It's the way you set the tone, not follow it. And energy, it's the invisible current you bring into every interaction. Masculine energy is focused, directed, grounded. It's not all over the place, trying to get her to like you. It pulls her in without chasing. Here's what most men don't realize. When you're stuck in gift mode, you're putting yourself in customer position. Here, take this, like me, you're saying, I don't believe I'm enough, so let me buy your interest. But when your energy is solid and your status is earned, anything you give feels like a bonus, not a bribe. You become the gift. And she senses that. Think back to the guys you've seen who seem to do very little, but women gravitate toward them. They don't need to prove their value. Their energy speaks first. That's status. That's power. It doesn't mean you stop being generous. It means your generosity comes from strength, not from a need for approval. When you operate from status and energy, you don't have to ask, did she like what I did? Because you're not keeping score, you're not performing, you're just expressing. And women respond to expression, not performance. So if you've been out there giving your time, attention, and money and still getting lukewarm results, it's time to stop focusing on the external. Start working on your energy. Build your frame. Raise your inner status. Be the man who doesn't need to convince. Be the one who simply is. That's the guy who turns heads. That's the guy who makes women feel something they can't quite explain but crave to feel. Again, say it in the comments if you get it now. I am the gift because you are. Once you stop giving from a place of emptiness and start being the source. Number 8, she tests to feel 8. She tests to feel safe, not to hurt you. Safe, not to hurt you. Let's be real. Every guy has felt it one moment. Everything feels smooth, even easy. Then, out of nowhere, she throws a curveball. A passive-aggressive question, a subtle dig, a change in tone, and you're thinking, what just happened? Why is she picking a fight? Why is she doubting me again? What did I do wrong? Here's the thing, you didn't do anything wrong. She's not attacking you, she's testing you, and not because she wants to hurt you, but because deep down she wants to feel safe. Most men misunderstand this completely. They get defensive, they snap back, or worse, they fold. They try to please her into calming down, apologizing for things they didn't do, just to restore the peace. But here's the truth. When a woman tests you, she's not looking for weakness. She's checking to see if you're solid, if you can stay grounded when emotions shift, if your masculinity holds up. When her feminine energy gets turbulent, she's not trying to destroy the frame. She's trying to see if the frame exists. This is ancient primal women test, because they want to know, can I trust this man? Can I lean on him when I'm not okay? Will he hold firm? Or will he break the moment I feel unstable? And the test doesn't come wrapped in logic. It comes wrapped in feeling. That's why it might seem irrational. That's why it might not make sense to you, but it makes perfect sense to her body, to her emotional wiring. If you react with panic or people-pleasing, what you're really saying is you control the frame now. And in that moment, her respect for you takes a hit. Not because she's cruel, but because you've shown her that your sense of self is dependent on her approval. But when you can stay calm, when you don't feed the drama, when you hold your own energy instead of spiraling into hers, that's when she exhales, that's when she relaxes, because now she knows I'm not alone in this storm. He's solid, I can trust him. This is where Stoicism becomes your superpower. It's not about suppressing emotion, it's about not being ruled by it. When she throws the test, your job isn't to solve it, it's to stand through it, to remain present, to breathe, to see beyond the noise and hold the bigger picture. She wants to feel your strength emotionally, mentally, energetically, not because she needs you to fix her, but because she needs to know you won't abandon yourself when things get hard. That kind of presence is magnetic. That kind of man is unforgettable. The next time she tests, you don't take it personally. Don't lash out. Don't retreat into silence either. Just meet her where she's at without losing where you are. You can even smile through it. That alone can flip the dynamic. Because now, instead of reacting, you're leading. You're steering the emotional weather, not getting caught in the storm. And remember, you don't pass her test by trying to be perfect. You pass by being grounded. You pass by staying you. The you that isn't shaken by mood swings. The you that doesn't crumble under pressure. The you that doesn't need her to always feel good in order to feel valuable. That's the man she craves. That's the man she respects. And that's the man she trusts enough to let her walls down around. Say this in the comments. If you feel it, I don't react, I respond. Because that's what she's really testing for. Not your logic, not your niceness, but your center. And when you master this, you stop fearing her emotional waves because you've become the shore. Number 9, sexual confidence is everything. Let's not sugarcoat this. Sexual confidence isn't optional. It's not a nice to have. It's everything. Because no matter how emotionally available, financially stable, or intellectually stimulating you are, if you show up in intimacy with hesitation, insecurity, or approval, seeking energy, she feels it instantly. Women are biologically wired to sense it, not in a judgmental way, but in a primal one. It's about safety. It's about polarity. And yes, it's about desire. See, sexual confidence isn't about having a perfect body or knowing every move. It's not about being some alpha caricature. It's about owning your desire without shame. It's about being present in your body, grounded in your masculinity, and not second-guessing your value as a man when things heat up. That's rare. That's powerful. And that's what turns her on far more than any expensive date or carefully worded compliment ever could. Let's break something down. Most guys confuse confidence with performance. They think sexual confidence means being great in bed, lasting longer, doing it right. And while skill can grow over time, confidence is felt way before clothes come off. It's in your eye contact, your voice, your posture, your ability to take the lead without needing permission every step of the way. When you walk into a room and carry that quiet, knowing like you're not chasing but choosing, everything shifts. The energy becomes electric because now she's not dealing with a boy hoping to impress her. She's in the presence of a man who knows what he wants and isn't afraid of his own fire. And here's the kicker. This kind of energy doesn't just create sexual attraction, it creates trust. When you can stay rooted in yourself, especially in intimate moments, it signals something deeper. I'm safe with myself. I'm not insecure. I'm not pretending I'm here fully. And that safety allows her to surrender, to soften, to feel free in her own body. And that is where real connection happens. But what kills this confidence? Overthinking, people pleasing, obsession with outcome. If you're constantly worried about how she's reacting, whether you're doing it right or if she's comparing you to someone else, you're not in the moment. You're in your head, and no one gets turned on by a man in his head. So what builds sexual confidence? Presence, breath, stillness, strength. It's about staying attuned to her energy while staying anchored in your own. It's the ability to take the lead while remaining sensitive to touch with purpose, not hesitation. It's also the willingness to hear no without collapsing, to stay relaxed in rejection, and to not make your worth dependent on her response. Because here's the paradox. When you stop needing her to validate you sexually, that's when she starts craving you more. Not because you're aloof, but because you're not needy. You're full. And she can feel that fullness in every touch, every glance, every silence. Let me say this clearly. Sexual confidence isn't about dominance. It's about depth. A man who is sexually confident knows how to build tension, how to tease without desperation, how to be playful without being performative. You know what? She doesn't want a man who needs sex to feel worthy. You know what she does want? A man who can create safety, excitement, and mystery just by being in control of himself. And that starts way before the bedroom. It starts in your lifestyle. Are you taking care of your body? Do you walk like you belong? Do you own your space without shrinking? Are you tuned in to what excites you, not just trying to please her? Because when your life is turned on, your presence becomes irresistible. When you enjoy yourself, your humor, your hobbies, your mission, she can feel that energy. It radiates and it draws her in. Let me leave you with this. A woman doesn't just want a man who performs. She wants a man who possesses himself, who makes her feel desired, not through cheesy lines or flashy moves, but through unwavering presence. So if you want to leave a mark, emotionally, mentally, physically, it starts here. Own your desire. Stand in it. Don't flinch. And if that speaks to you, drop this in the comments. I own my fire, because when you do, everything changes. Number 10, she doesn't want you soft. She wants you solid. Let's clear something up, right? 10, she doesn't want you soft. She wants you solid. Away. Being solid isn't about being cold, robotic, or emotionally numb. It's about being rooted, stable. A man who doesn't fall apart the moment things get difficult. Because here's the truth. When life tests her, when her emotions get intense, or when the relationship hits turbulence, she's watching one thing: you, not your words, not your romantic gestures, not how sweet you are when things are easy. She's watching your center. That's why soft, overly accommodating energy doesn't hold weight over time. Sure, she might appreciate it in moments. She might even say she wants a nice guy who listens. But if that softness comes from fear, from passivity, from trying to avoid tension or please her constantly, she feels that, and over time it erodes attraction. Why? Because softness without strength doesn't create safety. It creates doubt. Women test, not because they're malicious, but because they want to feel your strength. Not just physical, but emotional, mental, spiritual. They want to know, if I fall apart, will you still be standing? Can you hold your ground? Can you lead when I'm unsure? Will you crumble if I'm upset? Or will you meet my storm with calm? Being solid means you're not swayed by every mood. It means you don't chase validation. You don't backpedal just because she's upset. You listen. You hold space, but you don't lose yourself. Think about a tree in the wind. It can bend, it can flex, but it's rooted deep into the earth. That's what being solid looks like. You're not rigid, you're grounded. Now here's the tricky part. A lot of men mistake being solid for being stoic in the wrong way. They shut down emotionally, thinking that's strength. But numbing out isn't strength. It's fear wearing armor. True solidity means you're emotionally aware but not ruled by your emotions. You feel everything, but you're not a slave to reaction. That's maturity, that's leadership, that's masculinity. And yes, it turns her on. Not because it's flashy, but because it's rare. Let me ask you this. How do you respond when she pulls away? Do you panic? Do you try harder? Do you send another text just to check in? Or do you breathe, step back, stay grounded, and wait for her to feel your absence? Because when you're solid, you don't beg to be chosen. You choose yourself first. And that changes everything. It also shows up in how you handle conflict. If she's emotional, can you stay calm? If she's disrespectful, can you call it out without yelling? Can you walk away when needed? Not to punish, but because your standards are clear. That's what solid men do. They set boundaries not out of ego, but from self-respect. They don't need to control. They command through energy, through presence, through quiet power. And here's the paradox. When you're solid, she softens because she feels like she can finally let go, finally relax, finally trust. That's the kind of man women don't just want. They need, not to fix them, not to impress them, but to be a safe anchor in a world that constantly throws them off balance. You don't get there by faking it. You get there by doing the work, training your body, honing your purpose, facing your shadows, living with integrity, becoming someone you admire, not just someone she approves of. Because when you show up solid, everything else aligns. So if you've spent too long being the nice guy, the people pleaser, the man who walked on eggshells to avoid upsetting her, it's time to shift. It's time to reclaim your spine. No more shrinking, no more doubting, no more molding yourself to fit her moods. Be the mountain she can lean on, not the sand castle that crumbles with the tide. And if that hits home, let the world know you're done playing small. Type this in the comments, I'm solid now, because the moment you stop trying to be what she wants is the moment you become exactly what she craves. You made it to conclusion, the end. And that already puts you ahead of most men, because most guys, they never take the time to study this, to understand what really drives women. They just keep doing more, giving more, hoping that being the nice guy will finally pay off. But now, better. You know that it's not about what you do for her, it's about who you are while doing it. It's about how you carry yourself, how grounded you are, and whether you're a man she can feel. Not just a man who's always available. That's the truth, most won't tell you. But if you watch this far, it means you're not most men. You're serious about becoming stronger, smarter and more grounded in your masculinity. Not to impress her, but because you know you're worth more than being someone's backup plan. If that speaks to you, don't just click away and forget this. Subscribe now, because we're building a community of men who refuse to play blind. Men who want to master themselves, their purpose, and their relationships. And if you're ready to go deeper, to sharpen your mindset, your discipline, and your presence, join the Stoic Brotherhood inside. We break this all down, step by step. No fluff, no BS, just strategy.
And real growth. Thanks for watching. Be sharp, stay grounded, and I'll see you tomorrow.